prison, but a lengthy jail sentence for Bridgeport man convicted in two separate district court cases. KNEB.TV News starts right now.
From your trusted source for news in western Nebraska and eastern Wyoming, this is KNEB.TV News. Presented by Platte Valley Companies, premier provider of financial services.
Hello, I'm Ryan Murphy. This is KNEB.TV News powered by Platte Valley Companies. Thanks for joining me. In our top story, a Morrill County man facing charges in two separate cases in district court has been sentenced this week in Morrill County District Court. 20-year-old David Sinks was facing 8 charges, including felony failure to render aid in connection to a 2021 injury accident. Additionally, he was facing 4 charges, including felony strangulation in a domestic assault case. In August, Sinks pleaded no contest to 5 misdemeanor charges, and this week he was sentenced to a total of 6 months in jail for the injury accident case and an additional 6 months in jail for the domestic assault case. District Judge Andrea Miller gave Sinks 25 days credit for time already served. Well, students from across the Panhandle got hands-on experience this week in an effort to open possible career paths. Aulex hosted their 5th annual Manufacturing Day event Wednesday. Human Resources Director Cheyenne Marcy tells KNEB News that approximately 130 students from all over the region convened on their Scottsbluff facility.
And what they do is they learn about manufacturing. So they've gone through 3 of our shops, our truck, our trailer, and now our fab shop. And what you have going on right here behind us is the students are actually manufacturing a grain gate. So we have a competition where they all compete against each other to try and assemble a grain gate within 10 minutes.
October is Manufacturing Month, and Marcy says that by exposing students to manufacturing at an early age, these young adults can realize good jobs are readily available here in the Panhandle. We'll have more news right after this.
Tired of feeling stuck? Not sure if you are on the right track? Platte Valley Bank can help keep your finances moving forward with checking account options to fit your lifestyle and an online account chooser to make finding the right account easy. Control your financial future with helpful budgeting tools and automatic savings plans. Now is the time to enjoy the ride with Platte Valley Bank. You belong here.
Logos in Gering is the place to get all of your school spirit gear, personalized gifts, and promotional items for your business and employees and banners for any special event. Logos is also the only place to stop for custom screen printing or embroidery. You can even design it yourself on their interactive website. Stop into Logos today. They'll design it, print it, and have it to you in no time. There's no job too big or small for Logos. That's Logos in Gering.
Life Care promises us that we are looked after and taken care of properly.
If I didn't have Life Care, I would be probably scared to death about having enough money for when I got older or when I got sick.
Moving in here was an easy decision and in fact a no-brainer. I looked at it as actually buying long-term care insurance and in retrospect a good move.
One of the things that convinces me that we did the right thing is no matter what happens, we will constantly be taken care of.
The whole thing is just vital because you don't have to be worried about what's ahead for you. It's there, it's in black and white, and that's reassuring.
This is home. It has been from the day I moved in.
Welcome back. The president of the University of Nebraska has been making a swing throughout the state this week, talking with residents and various groups about the present and future of the institution. A subject that almost always comes up is finances and how Ted Carter was able to freeze tuition for 2 years and be as efficient as possible while cutting the university budget by $45 million over 3 years. During a stop in Scottsbluff, Carter told KNEB News he's looking forward to continuing the positive relationships with state politicians, noting that state support of the university will be up to a new governor and a new legislature with as many as 18 new senators.
We've asked for a very, very modest 3% budget increase, which is lower by far than any other higher ed system here in the state. And we think that we can still execute that. I'll still be $25 million short of executing my planned budget with that 3% budget increase over the 2 years. I've got to find a way to make that savings.
Carter says he also sees NU as a key to workforce development in the state, and towards that end, this will be the year of the paid internship at the institution. He says it will be meaningful work and a two-way success model to make sure students are successful while growing the economic engine of the state. Well, more Scottsbluff students are finding success in the 2023 National Merit Scholarship Program. Seniors Kaylee Charbonneau and Clara Helt from Scottsbluff High School have been named commended students, meaning they're being recognized for their exceptional academic promise. They are among the top 50,000 students nationally who entered the 2023 competition. Earlier this year, SHS senior Riley Ibero was named a 2023 National Merit Scholarship semifinalist. And Governor Pete Ricketts has announced that all U.S. and Nebraska flags are to be flown at half-staff this weekend in observance of the National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Service on Sunday. In Nebraska, we've lost 4 firefighters this year, including Lincoln Fire Inspector Donald Gross, Elwood Volunteer Fire Chief Darren Krull, retired Cambridge Fire Chief John J.P. Trumbull, and Purdom Volunteer Fire Assistant Chief Mike Moody. Flags will be flown at half-staff until sunset on Sunday. Well, still to come, can the Huskers win 2 games in a row? That's what Sean Callahan and Jason Jorgensen talk about during this week's Husker Chat.
Fly United Airlines, operated by SkyWest with Western Nebraska Regional Airport. United is dedicated to going the extra mile for you with daily flights to and from Denver, along with a commitment to excellent service. Reserve your flight today, and remember, United miles can be earned and redeemed with your flights. While at the airport, stop and enjoy authentic Italian food at Roma Italian Restaurant. Plus, Hertz Thrifty Car Rental is there for your car rental needs. Make life easier, relax, and get on board with Western Nebraska Regional Airport.
Welcome to Kelly's, home of the Valley's best selection of wine, spirits, and beer. Whether you're brand loyal to the tried and true brew or really enjoy trying something different and new, Kelly's has something for everyone. Family owned and operated and right on your way on West 27th Street in Scottsbluff. Kelly's Liquor. If you can't find it at Kelly's, it's not worth drinking.
This is KNEB.TV weather from the KNEB Storm Center, your trusted source for weather.
Clear skies across the area tonight, cool temps down into the low 30s, and in fact, we do have a frost advisory out for tonight across most of the area. Things are going to turn warmer tomorrow. It'll be quite nice through at least Tuesday, I think, of next week. Maybe more active, definitely cooler, I think, starting Wednesday of next week. Frost advisories are out, as we mentioned, for portions of the area. In fact, almost all the entire state of the Nebraska, well, all the entire state of Nebraska is under either a frost advisory or a freeze watch and freeze warning on the eastern side of the state. So we do expect things to get cooler here across the area, and in our vicinity, all the area here pretty much underneath this frost advisory for tonight. Temperatures overnight or yesterday got up to 71. That's about average. Our low was 38. That's also about average for this time of year. Just nice rain here. 0.23 of an inch of moisture in the rain gauge yesterday. We're now above normal for the month. Still got that hole to dig out of for the year, but another day of above normal temperatures, but another day of getting some precip out there as we picked up 4,100 so far here in Scottsbluff. And the rain chances are going to be pretty slim, though, as we go through the next 7 days. Maybe a very isolated chance Tuesday night. That's about all. Your forecast for tonight, for those games kicking off at 7 o'clock, you're going to be a chilly night, 48 when you kick off. By the end of the game, probably be in the 40s, low 40s at that. Maybe even some upper 30s snuck in there. You can see where the cooler dome of Cold air is here across the region, and it's right in our vicinity and points to the north and east. 40s and 50s across the Cornhusker State. We're going to chill, be pretty cold tonight in some areas, especially the eastern part of the state. We're still in the 50s here in most of our region, upper 40s and 50s. Winds are light and not gusting. That's good news because that would make the wind feel even colder. Now, as we look at Futurecast tonight, not much going on. A few high-level clouds, that's really about it. We'll go overnight into tomorrow with, again, just some clear skies and quiet conditions, and that's going to hold for most of the weekend. I don't see much coming in the way of precip here over the weekend, and really to start the first part of next week, things should remain quiet as well before maybe getting a bit more active as we go into the middle to later parts of next week. Lows overnight expected in the 20s and 30s. Highs tomorrow right around the upper 60s, mid and upper 60s. A very comfortable day tomorrow. Nothing in the rain gauge coming our way. Tonight, it's going to be clear. Areas of frost and a low of 32. Tomorrow, how about sunny skies? Light and variable winds, a fantastic day. Near 70 for a high. And as we look at our 7-day forecast, we continue to be in the 70s to near 80 for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Then Wednesday and Thursday, Friday, we cool off a little bit back into the 60s. But it looks like, all in all, a fairly decent 7-day forecast.
We do 2 pictures just like we've done in the past, one straight down and one from the side, but it's better in the fact that they're going to get called back less, there's greater accuracy, and it's a lot easier to find it in dense breasts. A woman should start getting their mammos at age 40 every year, and 1 in 8 people get breast cancer, so it's the best way to find it is early detection.
I'm Jason Jorgensen. It is once again time for Husker Chat. It's brought to you by Acres Equipment. We are joined by Sean Callahan of Husker Online. And Sean, we have a nice Husker victory to talk about. That was a great win for the Huskers on Saturday night. Still some warts out there, but I was impressed with how Mickey Joseph had the guys ready to play, and Nebraska certainly made some improvement of that win against Indiana.
Yeah, to be exact, Jason, 364 days since Nebraska's last Big Ten win, and that was Northwestern, which feels like 20 years ago, that 56-7 win in Memorial Stadium. But, you know, timing is everything, and I feel like they did get Indiana at a great time. The Hoosiers were missing their top 2 receivers. They had a very vulnerable offensive line, so it allowed Nebraska's front 7, I think, to get after Bazelak, their quarterback. With a couple of those receivers out, I think Nebraska was much more aggressive with their man-to-man coverage, their press coverage, which we didn't really see a lot of, and they tackled better. All of those things added up, but, you know, let's not kid ourselves. That second and third quarter, Nebraska had combined a little over 110 yards of total offense on nearly 30 plays. So there wasn't, you know, there was a kind of a pillow fight period of that game that they had to get out of. And they did with a big play to Trey Palmer. And that was even dicey. It was a 3rd and 8 throw that Casey Thompson made there. And as we know, that's the play that really turned that game around.
Also, they played better on special teams, or at least they got the special teams touchdown. And that has been a long time in coming.
Yeah, 2 things. They got a special teams touchdown, which was the first time since on a block punt for the first time since 2009 Baylor. That was a 20-10 win in Waco. I was out there for that. It was Cody Green's first start. But they had their longest punt return, 22 yards since the 2020 Purdue game. Cam Taylor-Britt had a 27-yard punt return in that game. So 2 things we just haven't seen a lot of the last couple of years, or several years in the punt block return. And they came up big. I mean, that even just the 22-yard punt return, that matters. It shortens your field considerably. It probably gets you closer to midfield versus the 35-yard line. And that's the difference in points on a lot of drives.
It's funny that the things we used to take for granted are a big thing now with Husker football. And one of them was, you used to always rely on Nebraska. You just figured that Nebraska would win a close game and wear someone down in the fourth quarter. They finally did it. I thought it was interesting what Coach Joseph said this week. It's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to do it. And that win over Indiana has got to be a big shot of confidence.
Yeah, the way they finished out the game, 2-score win, victory formation, doesn't get any better than that. The locker room scene that we saw after the game, there weren't a lot of long runs in that game, but there were a lot of just steady diets of 2 to 7 yard runs by Anthony Grant. And that's really all you need if you can consistently get them. And this offensive line hasn't been great for Nebraska, but they have been serviceable in the run blocking. And I think they came up big. Now, Grant would have liked to probably had maybe that big 40-yard type run to highlight his performance, because that was a very tough 32 carries that he had to really kind of put up the numbers he did. But Nebraska needed every one of those yards.
Today on Husker Chat, we're joined by Sean Callahan with Husker Online. It's brought to you by Acres Equipment. Sean, you wrote about it a little bit, so I guess the big key now is, what does Nebraska do with this victory and this newfound momentum, and how do they put that all together and play? They'll probably have to play better than they did Saturday night to win at Rutgers.
Yeah, they're favored on the road by 2.5 points right now, and it is crazy to think that this is the 5th time in 6 games Nebraska has been favored, and they're 2-3 on the year going into this game in New Jersey. So that they've got another great opportunity. I think the timing of the matchup is good because Rutgers is coming off physical games against Iowa 2 weeks ago. They lost, and then they lost handily to Ohio State. So I just think the timing really helps Nebraska playing this game, knowing that the Scarlet Knights have lost 2 pretty tough ones in a row. And, Friday night, I'm not expecting a raucous atmosphere out there. I think in that part of the country, a lot of people have things going on Friday nights. It's probably going to be pretty hard to get a huge crowd there versus, say, a Saturday at 3:30 in the afternoon. So I like the draw of the matchup. Maybe we will get more of a student presence, than normal with a Friday night game. But I think there's some things that you can draw from and say, you know what, this breaks well for Nebraska under these circumstances.
What's the biggest key for them against Rutgers? This is a Rutgers team that continues to struggle a little bit on offense. They have found their identity a little bit on defense, but still they're searching on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, biggest thing for offense or for the Nebraska defense is tackle again. Nebraska only missed 6 tackles against Indiana. They were averaging close to 14 missed tackles per game in their previous 4 contests. So if they can have that kind of fundamental game again, with improved tackle play and pass rush, getting their hands on a lot of balls in deflection and coverage, I like this matchup. I think it does really set up for the Huskers. They're going to need to protect Casey Thompson, though. The way that Rutgers is going to get after him, and I think that's the blueprint on Nebraska, bring the heat. Indiana blitzed Nebraska over half of their dropbacks. 17 of their 32 dropbacks, Indiana brought more than 4. Which is a blitz. And I think for Nebraska, they've got to be ready for that again. The running backs did a really good job last week, picking up some of that pressure. They've really tried to overwhelm that right side of the line, particularly with Bryce Benhart there, and bring as much heat there, because that's been the vulnerable side. Turner Corcoran left that game, but they've got to keep Casey Thompson standing, as we know what he means to this offense.
How do you feel Mickey Joseph's handling this interim coach position? I kind of like what I hear from him in the pressers. He's real direct. There's not a lot of fluff there. You guys ask him questions, and I think he gives you pretty direct answers.
Yeah, he's very blunt. He's not going to say a lot that he shouldn't say. And, you never know how a coach is going to be, especially because Mickey, I felt like when he was assistant, he would say quite a bit. I think he's been a lot more calculated with what he says and how he says it. But the players really like him. You can sense that. And I'm not trying to, take a shot at Coach Frost, but you can just sense there's just a different feel with the guys and Mickey Joseph than it was a few weeks back with Coach Frost.
All right. Well, we'll see how it shakes out. Boy, wouldn't it be something if Nebraska could win 2 in a row? That's been a while, too.
2 in a row. They have won 3 in a row since 2016. So, if they can get this one, and by the way, we're on the road at night again So Nebraska, for their first 7 games this year, will be nighttime kickoffs.
All right. You have a good, safe trip to the East Coast. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Jason.
And that was Sean Callahan joining us once again for Husker Chat. We're here every week. It's brought to you by Acres Equipment. I'm Jason Jorgensen.
Well, let's take a look what's happening on today's community calendar. The Community Calendar is brought to you by Riverstone Bank. First State Bank is now Riverstone Bank. Community strong with the same people you know and trust.
You deserve to have a building that will last for generations. With more than 110 years of experience and thousands of satisfied customers, Morton Buildings is the industry leader you can trust. If you're planning for a garage, farm shop, horse barn, storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, there's no better time to buy. Contact your local Morton sales office or visit mortonbuildings.com to get started today.
Looking for free instead of fees? Platte Valley Bank can help you keep your finances moving forward with no ATM fees. Whether you're headed to the lake, the mountains, or just to the grocery store, you can enjoy the freedom of free ATM access anywhere, anytime. Platte Valley Bank. You belong here.
And finally tonight, Fort Robinson State Park's Haunted Halloween is returning for its second year, this time at the park's parade ground and Buffalo Soldier Barracks. Throughout the evening, the park will offer free wagon rides, and visitors can dine on chili soup and a roll for $5. The public is encouraged to serve trick-or-treaters candy from their vehicles, and attendees who arrive in costume may sign up for a chance to win a 2-night stay at one of the park's cabins that can sleep 6 people. The October 29th event is open to the public, but a Nebraska State Park permit entry is required for vehicles. Well, that does it for us this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday.